I was sitting at my dining room table and I was going through a bunch of old photos for some reason. And I came across this one of me and my old buddy Dwight. And I think we were maybe, oh shit, 20 years old at the time. And we were at this club that we used to go to all the time. And I'm looking at that picture, man, and it's taking me right back there. I just remember that this place, man, it was always packed. And then I'm sitting there and I'm doing the math. And I'm starting to realize that I haven't talked to Dwight in probably, oh God, 10 years maybe. And I'm wondering, man, how does that even happen? How does a lifelong friendship just fade away like that? And to really, understand what I mean when I say friendship, you got to understand what kind of bond we had, man. I'm talking about over 4 decades. I mean, there was a time that we used to talk on the phone every single day, man. And I mean about everything. Dwight was that one person in my life, man, that I could open up to about anything. And I never had to worry about him judging me or looking down his nose or any of that. And he taught me things, man, about life that nobody else ever did. I remember I had this website that I was trying to get off the ground. That was in early maybe 2000s. And I just kept hitting snag after snag. And Dwight, he said something to me that I'd never heard before. He said, you need to learn to fail forward. He said, failure's not the end. It just gives you another piece of information that puts you one step closer to where you're trying to go. And I've never forgotten that. We were so close, we had our own unspoken code. He could make a gesture with his head, man, or nod or blink his eye, and I knew exactly what he meant. He knew all my secrets, and I knew all his. There's a lot of stuff, man, to this very day that I still haven't told anybody else other than my wife. But even with all that, all good things must come to an end. I mean, I guess at the time, there was always signs of our relationship fraying, but I just didn't want to see it. I just remember Dwight, man. He had this annoying habit of every New Year's, it was the same resolution. This is going to be my year. And every year, like clockwork, he never did any of it. And so one time, I finally said it, you know, you say the same shit every year, but it never happens. And he kind of looked at me weird. And I felt bad, but looking back, I guess that bond was already coming undone. And around the same time, I put him to a test. I asked him about Cynthia, who was his girlfriend at the time. And he kind of just glazed right over it. And he said, nah, nothing really. Same old, nothing going on. But see, I already knew from another friend of ours that they'd broken up some time ago. He just didn't tell me. And I guess that was my first real hint that something in our friendship wasn't the way it used to be. And then fast forward, then came the visit incident, as I like to call it. And that confirmed it. So Dwight, he calls me up out of the blue. He wants to come up for the Black Expo, which was a normal thing. And so we're on the phone and we're talking and we're catching up. And it hits me. The last time we talked on the phone was April. And now it's July. And he gets here and we decide to go and grab some food before we go downtown. So we go to this place called O'Charlie's. And we're sitting there and we're waiting on the food and we're talking, not really talking, but I'm just thinking that this conversation is going to get deeper, man, because I know I got some things I want to know and he probably got some things he wants to know. And so the food comes, but it never happens. The conversation stays very surface level. And I can feel both of us, playing defense. And I'm wondering why. Because, see, we never had that problem before. But now, all of a sudden, we do. And then it dawned on me. If you got to start filtering what you say to your best friend, you guys are pretty much already strangers. I just know I didn't want to be the first one to open up. And maybe he felt the same way, who knows? But as the night went on, that deeper conversation, it never happened. And I knew right then and there something had changed. It wasn't long after that that we pretty much just started to, I don't know, drift further and further apart. And the last time I think I physically talked to Dwight was in 2019 before COVID, 6 years ago, maybe. We all four went to a concert together in Ohio. But I guess we will always have some type of a connection because there's no major event in my adult life that I can go back to without him being there. I mean, my wedding and my mother's funeral, high school. He was there for all that. And it's funny because sometimes me and my wife will be talking and I'll catch myself saying me and Dwight because in the memory I'm going back to, he's in there. And she used to say all the time, why don't you just pick up the damn phone and call him? But she knows how stubborn I am. But sometimes I won't lie, I ask myself that same question. But what would I even say? I mean, so much time has already passed. What would we even talk about? And what would our excuse to each other be? I mean, how do you explain to your brother that your life got so busy that you couldn't find time for him in it? And then right after COVID ended, I guess I was feeling some kind of way about death. So I wanted to set up another concert trip for the four of us. So I had a real legit reason to call him, but for whatever reason, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And when I say that, I mean something in me would not let me physically pick up that phone and call. And that's when I knew that this had nothing to do with me just being stubborn anymore. I had to face the fact that whatever bond we once had, it was gone. And as painful as losing that type of friendship bond was, I never tried to build that with anyone else. Because I don't think you can build that kind of a bond with anybody. I think it just has to kind of, I don't know, occur naturally, you know? But I did have two very good friends, Brian and Sean, where I felt like that kind of relationship could have eventually happened. But unfortunately, they both passed away. Sean was, I think, 50 and Brian was 49. And after that, I kind of just shut down. I stopped trying to form bonds with anybody because why even try? Why open up to somebody when that person can just be gone in an instant? It's almost like three people died. And I know, even though Dwight's still alive, his loss hurts worse because he's choosing not to be a part of my life. So I lost another brother. He just didn't die. And I'm forced to deal with that reality on a daily basis because we have this digital photo frame in our living room and it constantly plays back these scenes from our wedding. And I can remember sitting there and watching the cycle through pictures of Sean and Brian and Dwight. And it dawned on me Dwight was the only one left. And that made me really start asking myself, how did all this happen? And the only thing that I could come up with was that when both our parents passed, we changed as people. Those losses were so painful to us that they shut down a part of us that we needed to maintain that type of closeness with another person. But I think there may even be more to it than that. Because we as men were taught to be a certain way. We were given a certain set of rules to live our lives by. But what no one ever told us was how to talk to another man about your feelings. I mean, how do you tell another man that you miss him? You see, in my day, we were never taught how to maintain any type of relationship, yet alone a friendship. We were only taught to never show weakness. And I think that's why neither one of us was ever able to really break down and ask those hard questions we wanted to ask. Like, hey, man, what's going on? Something feels kind of off. We both just kind of put on our game face and end up letting our 40-year friendship slip away. And that's exactly how you let the guy that you take a bullet for go from being your brother to being a complete stranger. If you got any thoughts or comments or ideas you'd like to share about this, please, by all means, drop them down below and let's talk about them. This is deeply meaningful to me. Obviously, you don't come across 40-year friendships every day. You don't lose them either. Still think about it. Still bugs me. Still have a lot of unanswered questions, and I probably will for the rest of my life. But there's some things you just, you don't get answers to. I've learned to live with it, deal with it as best you can. But 40 years is a long time, man. A lot of memories. A lot of memories. Like I said in the video, you there's certain places, man, I can't go back to in my mind because my buddy's there. And that's a lot of places. Um, but that stubbornness, and there's a lot of other factors too that come into play, moving and time and getting married and moving out of state. There's a lot of other factors that come to play. But I guess what I'm saying is if you got that kind of friendship, man, treasure it, cherish it, work at it if you need to. Because you don't find that every day. Friends like that, man, they're far and few between. They really are. And we should cherish them. You know. I think a lot of people confuse that word acquaintance with friends. You know. I'm talking about a real friend that grew with you and you grew with them, that knew you before you're who you are now. But hey, like I said, I'm not gonna ponder on it too much. It's painful, kind of. I'm not gonna lie. But if you guys, like I said, you want to share your friendship stories or loss, or hopefully you still got that friend, drop them down below. Let's talk about them. I love those comments. But at any rate, I'm Unc. Take care of yourself and each other. Kindness, love, respect. I really think these are our way forward, fellas. But at any rate, hit that like and subscribe button. I'll catch you guys in the next one.